This is the report out of MIT that absolutely shook the AI industry. It said 95% of AI pilots inside the enterprise fail. And this report went viral. It was everywhere just a couple months ago. Fast forward just a few months later, and today AWS is hosting reInvent, their annual massive conference. And they just made two announcements to their agentic platform that really look to solve the issues that enterprises are having deploying agentic systems into production. Those two big problems: how to trust AI and how to control AI. And I know there's probably bigger existential questions there, but within the context of enterprise, you can absolutely have production grade agentic systems. AWS is sponsoring this video, so thanks to them. And these announcements really are different from anything else I've seen on the market so far. What makes them special is that the policy handling, evaluations, and episodic memory are now first-class citizens within their agentic framework, AgentCore. AgentCore is the most advanced agentic platform that allows you to build, deploy, and scale agents at production level with no infra management required. It can work with any model and any framework. Now, again, they just made these announcements at reInvent this week, so I'm excited to tell you about them. So first, let's talk about policy management. That is essentially putting guardrails around your agents to make sure they only do what you want them to do. And obviously, this is an incredibly important factor when deploying agents into production. So here's what that screen looks like in AgentCore. It's quite easy to set up. I will link the instructions down below in the description. And so here's what one of those policies looks like. First, you can enter it in natural language in a prompt, just like this. Forbid Slack messages unless user has messaging right scope. Viewing websites with URL containing internal is forbidden unless the username starts with admin dash. Allow Slack messages when the user is within the allowed group. Then it will generate the code, the programmatic code, automatically from your prompt. And then you just test it. You make sure it does what you want it to do. And it is that simple. So again, imagine this at scale. That's the important part. This is a production grade feature. It allows you to process, as it says here, thousands of requests per second, and it keeps the agents accessing only the things that it is supposed to access, defined, most importantly, easily with natural language. And so I mentioned these two major features are first-class citizens within the AgentCore experience. And here is how that works. So the user gets instructions to the agents. Here are the agents and other MCP clients. The request goes through to the AgentCore gateway, which taps into the policy engine. The policy engine checks if the agent is allowed to access the given resource and only provides it with the tool calls it's allowed to do. Then it goes off and hits the tools, the APIs, the system data, everything else based on only what it's allowed to do. And you remember that video I made a while ago about automated reasoning? It is the verifiable way to test non-deterministic systems. I know it sounds complicated, but just imagine a mathematical proof to test whether a model is hallucinating or not. That is also something they built into policy with AgentCore. And it is very low latency. These policies are tested in milliseconds. All of these policy guardrails are increasingly important as we continue to discover that these models are capable of deception, introspection, lying, exfiltration, and more, according to many Anthropic papers. So governance policies at the lowest level of these agentic systems is absolutely critical. Next, we have evaluations, and this is another major release that AWS put out this week. Evaluations is exactly what it sounds like. One of the most critical elements in running a production grade AI system and agentic framework. I have worked with many companies, and the thing that always seems to come second is evaluations, but it should come first. You need a baseline. You don't know if you're improving unless you're able to measure it. And with evaluations, that's what you're able to do. With evaluations in AgentCore, you can evaluate your agentic systems by using one of their standard off-the-shelf evals or creating your own custom eval. And I actually made a video about this as well, a full tutorial. Now, that was specifically to an AI model, but now you can apply evaluations to agents. And it's very similar. So I'll drop a link to that tutorial down below. And just like evaluating models, evaluating agents has a bunch of different signals that you can test on, including correctness, helpfulness, conciseness, instruction following, faithfulness, response, relevance, coherence, refusal, and so on. And of course, as I said before, you can use your own custom evaluation. So if you wanted to talk like a pirate and you want to make sure it's talking like a pirate, you could make an eval just for that. And again, what makes this special is AgentCore took these fundamental building blocks of AI and now brought them to the lowest level of building agents. And that's the key. These are first-class agent features now built in at the lowest levels. And you can evaluate your agents on demand at any time or continuously. So you can see at any time, are these agents doing what they need to do? And because you have full observability with AgentCore, when an agent does do something wrong or it gives you false information, you could trace that back all the way through to its initial decision. And the third is a huge upgrade to AgentCore memory. They now have episodic memory. This means these agents can learn from their successes and their failures across multiple interactions. They will recognize patterns by having all of that memory, both from successes and failures, and will be able to apply the learnings from those patterns to future interactions. And so these memories aren't tied to a specific user or a specific conversation. They propagate throughout the entirety of your agent implementation. And tying it back to evaluations again, because all of these things are baked into kind of the lowest level of AgentCore, evaluations are able to take the memories and use them during evaluations to see if the agent is actually getting better because of those memories. So with policy, evaluations, and episodic memory, AgentCore is now the first to build in these pieces of functionality deep within the AgentCore experience. And the key is that all of these features, all of this functionality is moved into the execution path. It is not an afterthought. This is built in to how you build agents now. This is the future. Thank you to AWS for sponsoring this video. Check out AgentCore. I'm going to link everything down below. Give it a try, build agents. Let me know what you build. Let me know what you think of these features and the rest of the features that come with AgentCore. AWS is solving the enterprise rollout dilemma. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.